Very warm welcome, everyone, to this 46th post-charter meeting of Personal Growth Leaders, 11th December. We meet every Saturday at 2 p.m. GMT for 1 hour, and we work on our communication and leadership skills by being here. And today's meeting theme is happiness. It's a very broad topic, and happiness is different for different people. But the most important aspect of happiness is that it is within. It can be accessed at any moment, at any point of time. And even though external accumulations give us happiness, but the reason that happiness comes is because it is already there within. So with that, I would like to hand over the virtual gavel to the Toastmaster of this meeting, Arthur, so that he can run the show. Thank you very much, Arthur.
Thank you very much, President. Indeed, today we are going to talk about happiness. Thank you very much for such a description of happiness. Basically, my starting line has been your starting line. You basically looked at my notes, President Kumar. Yeah. So the reason why I chose this theme is because in this month, I'm reflecting on happiness. I'm looking at the tough times that we're living in, but also there's so many things that we have to be happy about. There's a saying by William Arthur Ward, my namesake. It says, happiness is an inside job. What does that mean? It means you're responsible for your own happiness. We have to be happy because we can be. And today, I am very happy to be your host. In this case, the host for the sixth meeting of the Personal Growth Leaders Advanced Toastmasters International Club. Our word of the day, do we have word of the day yet?
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. All right. Right, so our word of the day is it triple P? Okay, pleasure, passion, purpose. Words of the day: pleasure, passion, and purpose. We have to try and to use the word of the day in our Toastmasters today, Toastmasters session today. Let's try to express our happiness using these words of the day: pleasure, passion, and purpose. I would like to invite the role player, the evaluator for the first speaker, to tell us what the first speech is all about. Amvita.
The speaker is attempting creative, effective visual aids project. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice selecting and using a variety of visual aids during a speech. All the best to the speaker. Back to Tia Modi.
Thank you very much. So our first speaker is Kausha Gupta, and he is focusing on raising resilient children. This is presentation mastery, and it's focusing on creating effective visual aids. Sorry, I got an interruption, internet interruption. My apologies, Toastmasters. Right, so with that, may I invite the first speaker to speak to us tonight? Kausha.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I took a course on parenting, even though I am not a parent. Why would I do that? Because I thought that even though I don't have kids, a class on how to raise kids would be interesting and helpful. And I was right. The class was called Parenting in Place. It was an 8-week online course in which experts talked about how to raise mentally healthy children in these trying times. I will now share with you what I learned about raising resilient children. Whether or not you have children, I think you'll enjoy this. First things first, that's you. To raise a healthy child, you first have to be a healthy parent. As a parent, you feel pressured to create magical moments for your kids. And if you fail to bring pleasure, purpose, and passion into your child's life, you feel uncertain about your own ability to parent. This may make you feel detached from your responsibility and could even lead to serious problems such as addiction, sleep disorders, or thoughts of suicide. One way to avoid all that is practicing mindfulness. To be mindful when you're feeling stressed, you allow yourself to be in the moment, letting your feelings wash over you. And most important of all, don't judge what you're going through or how you feel about it. You've probably heard of self-care, but it's important that your self-care be intentional. Whatever you do for self-care, you have to do it with your mental health in mind. Have a preemptive plan for how you'll deal with stress. What will you say to calm yourself down? What little things can you do to cheer yourself up? Allow yourself to be vulnerable around your kids. When you're frustrated, it's good to show them how you feel. Your tone should model how you feel within limits. Too often, we sanitize what our kids learn. And when you're busy and your child asks for your attention, it's good to sometimes reject their plea. That way, they can see how resilient you are about your work, which will give them a lesson about how they can be resilient. Practice journaling. You can write your preemptive stress management plan in your journal. Jot down what works, what doesn't, how you feel, and what you'll try tomorrow. One journaling technique I learned from a podcast is called homework for life. Every day you write down what it was about that day that made it better than any other day of your life. It's a great way to increase your gratitude. There's even a TED Talk about homework for life, which you can find by Googling. Now let's talk about building resiliency in young children. You want to teach them from a young age to start solving their own problems. Tell your kids that they have a pocket problem solver, their own hand. When something bothers them, they can use their fingers to count the reasons it bothers them. They can use those same fingers to count out solutions and then decide which finger has the best solution that they want to try. Teach your children empathy. Encourage them to talk about how they feel and teach them to read the emotional signs of others. Go slow with praise. Don't overdo it. And when you'd like to display your child's latest work of art, ask them for permission to do that first. That'll give them a sense of ownership and respect. Did you know that a kid's ability to be resilient in a crisis doesn't depend on the severity of the crisis? but the presence of a calm, confident parent. So exude that calmness. Find out what helps your kids calm down. The Olympic champion swimmer, Michael Phelps, suffered terrible attention deficit disorder as a child. What calmed him down? Swimming. And that worked out quite well for him. There was an interesting study regarding graduates from Stanford University, one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. Their average IQ was only 119, but their self-control was high. So teach your kids self-control from an early age. Make them practice waiting and turning their devices off. Practice non-electronic games with them like Simon Says or Mother May I, which can teach kids how to wait. There's a book that the class mentioned called Wonder by R.J. Palacio. That slide says A.J. Palacio, but that's a typo. It's actually R.J. Palacio. It's aimed at kids ages 8 to 12 and deals with identity, bullying, and acceptance. It would be good to read this with your kids. Teach your kids to deal with their fears by chunking them. Chunking means breaking the problem down into smaller chunks. It means confronting a scary situation a little each day and doing a little more to overcoming it. And that was just a small chunk of what I learned from that class. But I hope you enjoyed it and found something you can take away from it. Whether or not you're a parent, I will leave you with the last lesson that the class taught. Be brave enough to admit your limitations, to recognize that parts of your life are a mess, and to create an intervention and get help to make things better. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for such an informative speech. Indeed, mindfulness is what helps us to find meaning in life. And obviously that enhances our level of happiness. Thank you very much, Toastmaster, for that interesting and very informative speech. Moving on, I would like to invite the second evaluator for the second speech, Toastmaster Somesh Kumar, to give us points about the next speech by Fatima Afia. Toastmaster Somesh.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Arthur. Fatima is doing Distinguished Toastmaster second speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to demonstrate his or her skills as a leader and a public speaker. And the purpose of this second speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her experience completing the project. All the best, Fatima.
Thank you very much, evaluator. Now I invite Fatima to deliver her speech, Resource Mentoring Guide. Fatima.
Let me share my screen before I begin here. Good day to everybody. I hope you are having a lovely evening. Now, before I begin with my speech, let me ask you, how many of you have had a mentor? Raise your hands. I see your feet. Now, raise your hands if you think you are a good speaker, good at something, but still you need a mentor. Yeah, a few hands. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is my Distinguished Toastmaster project, developing a mentoring resource guide. And I will tell you why I chose this project. In this speech, I will be covering the purpose, the resources I have used, the outcome, milestone, and I'll be giving why I do this with passion. As I mentioned, the purpose is to create a resource guide for mentoring Toastmasters. Now, for the purpose to do this is a huge project, and I had a team of members to guide me, support me, and these are the members, including the district director, the current Pathways chair, and of course, my handsome husband, and a senior Toastmaster who is well known in District 102, where my home club is. Now, before I begin with my writing the mentoring guide, I organized a workshop on mentoring on 24th of October 2021. The reason being I wanted to capture and have a discussion on what are the challenges that our members are facing when we are assigned with a mentor or we don't get assigned with a mentor. We have problems, and we invited program quality director from District 17, and then we had our previous Pathways, and of course our district director. We had over 100 members, and I was able to gather information. And you can see some of the members here. Now, when I look at my timeline of my Toastmasters journey, since I joined 1st of April 2019, this is the amount of work I have done, which I'm not going to go into detail, but I have chartered 6 clubs, and this is my experience. Now I'm going to stop share for a while and take you to the guide, which I'm gonna share with you. I'm not sure how clear you can see, but this is lots of work I have done, just briefly to show you. I have a contents page and over 33 pages, which I have done, which it's amazing that Toastmasters International, they have provided all the resources we need. It's on the website. But sometimes we find it challenging, difficult even to go up and click on the available resources. And this is why, as a resource guide on mentoring, I decided to put all the links on one document. So it will be easier for club members as well as those who are helping with the chartering of the club mentoring process. It will be easier for them to just go into my resource guide and have a look at that. Now, let me again continue with my sharing where I left off. Okay, so, and this is why with my 2 years of experience, people think, okay, there was a discussion I know among some friends and I have seen on social media, because within 1 year, I became the Toastmaster of the Year for District 102. And for District 102, I proposed a formal system, which is, we had a discussion with the district director. Under program quality director, there will be a mentoring system. Pathways chair will become the mentoring chair for District 102. And all the 9 divisions, there will be the division mentoring chair, and the 39 area directors, there will be the mentoring chair. And each club, they will have a club mentor. Likewise, as you go down to the club, they will have a mentor. Now, why we see all this is so important. Mentoring is key to retain members. That's the purpose. Why did we had last term 6,000 and we have reduced to 3,000 members? It's very sad. And this is, I think, where I am lobbying and advocating to have a mentoring system. Now, I did 360 feedback, and the members involved said it was too ambitious a project. I had only a limited time frame to do this. And of course, it's a live document, which means there will be continuous upgrade. And we needed more incorporation from the mentors. And of course, challenges, it's a lot. It's a lengthy document, and still I felt I needed to add up. And because of the small team, I had difficulty in doing, because unlike other projects, I didn't put them together. I worked separately, individually with them. They are because of my team members being busy. Now I will stop sharing and say to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, in Toastmasters, during my short term, I have given the best to my members. In a district to large amount of members, or say we had 6,000 last term, and now we are looking at increasing over to 6,000. And sometimes people say, we are Toastmasters for life, and you give your life majority portion of your time. But one thing we forget is that the journey we have in Toastmasters, it can be joyful. As the founder of our Toastmasters International said, Ralph, I would say, the Ralph Smedley, the greatest man, whom we are following his footsteps. Why? To learn to speak, to communicate, and be leaders. And he said that we learn in moments of enjoyment. So ladies and gentlemen, even though I'm still learning, I would be happy to have mentors from all of you, their support. And I urge each of you, go out to your district, to your clubs, or even globally, make that network and form a greatest mentoring system. Still, we lack that in all our districts. So ladies and gentlemen, I again call as the last call that you have Toastmasters International to be the greatest, better by being a mentor. Over to you, thank you.
Thank you so much, our speaker. Indeed, mentorship is very important because it builds people. And if you're building people, you're also helping them to be satisfied with their own lives, as they'll be able to achieve their personal goals. And that bleeds happiness. As Rollins Rovasic said, try to make at least one person happy every day. If you cannot do a kind deed, speak a kind word. If you cannot speak a kind word, think a kind thought. Count up, if you can, the treasure of happiness that you would dispense in a week, in a year, in a lifetime. Come to think of it, how much happiness can you instill in people by mentoring them? So thank you very much, Fatima, for that interesting and informative speech that you have just delivered. I would like to invite the evaluator for speaker number 3, Catherine, to give us points about the next speech. Catherine.
Thank you. The next speech will be John Khaled. He is going to be reflecting on his second speech in his VTM project. He's going to deliver a speech that reviews the benefits and outcomes and the lessons that he has learned along his journey. And the name of his speech is Speakers of Tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, speech evaluator. Right, I'd like to invite John to take the podium. Toastmaster John.
I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Great. Okay, fellow Toastmasters. When I started this project, Distinguished Toastmaster Project, it was actually some time ago. And I started it before COVID, to be quite honest. I visited Asian Metropolitan University, where Fatima and myself are actually students. And we introduced them to Toastmasters. We even did a demo there, and we started it off from scratch. And then, boom, COVID happened. And they decided to wait until they wanted physical meetings. So there was a dilemma. Because if we left them too long, as far as I'm concerned, they wouldn't become Toastmasters. So we had to give them something. So what happened before COVID, we did a workshop for the students. We had over 60 students. They were nurses, because they teach nurses at Asian Metropolitan. And they were afraid of speaking, afraid to come up on the stage. I mean, Fatima was standing beside them, holding their hands. That was the ladies, of course, not the men, to help them to speak. So we knew there was problems with the students in speaking, in public speaking. So the two objectives that we set out at the beginning. One is to keep Toastmasters in the consciousness of the faculty and the dean. And the second was to help the students, not to just let them flounder, was to help the students. So we came up with a project and it moves on, okay, of confidence building. 1 year workshop, okay, and it will run in a cycle. And this is a cycle of workshops of public speaking that has been going on for the last year. The structure, the workshops are 2 hours long. The structure of a speech, the body language, and the vocal variety. And then we had a contest for the people that were on the course. From the structure of the speech straight away, you could see how nervous the people were in speaking. And we only give them like an impromptu speaking, 2 minutes. And we actually give them the subject as well. So they had time to prepare, but there was still, you could see straight away. By the time it came around for the contest, all 9 participants of the first cycle of workshops actually took part. And you could see the difference. It was actually amazing. You would have, if you'd have been there. Now these workshops, as I said, we did structure of a speech, body language, and vocal variety. These were all taken from Toastmasters. We would not have known, or I would not have known how to do them if I hadn't have learned this about the structure of a speech, about the body language and the vocal variety, and how to do a contest. Set up and do a contest. So all this information actually came from Toastmasters. The next cycle, we had nearly 18 people take part. And the contest, there was 51 people, students at the contests. So it was generating a lot of interest, which was good for us because the objective was to help the students, and we know it was helping the students, and one, to keep it in the eye of the faculty. And some of the faculty were coming to these workshops. So we were keeping it in their eye as we went along. So it's AMU public speaking workshops. Facilitators, of course, myself and my lovely wife as the two facilitators. As you can see, we're both certified virtual facilitators. We've done 2 courses on that. And Fatima's reading a DBA at that university. And I've just done my teaching methodology and just doing I did my practicum there as well, 10 weeks of teaching the students. So we're well into the AMU, if you understand me. And these are our other facilitators from the university, Shiri, Thrash, and Vadi. They're from the Student Representative Council because we meshed with the Student Representative Council to actually put these on for the students to help us to do it. Now, according to the facilitators, I'm very competent, very democratic, and they like working with me. So I thought that was very good. It was a great pleasure to have that said about me. We kept in the mind of all the students as we're going along about Toastmasters. As you can see, because we use a lot of Toastmasters stuff. This is showing them how a speech should be done, a 7-minute speech, how she was using body language, how she was using vocal variety. So we showed them a lot of videos of past speakers of how they actually did the speech. And some of them, students, when they came to do their speeches on the contest, weren't near enough mimicking her, which I thought was actually very good. And they were very passionate about it as well.
Ramona J. Smith.
I'm not going to say that. Okay. Thank you very much. And I shall stop sharing now. Okay. So yesterday, we went to AMU. And we talked to the dean at AMU, and he's allocated 8,000 ringgits towards the Toastmasters AMU Toastmasters Club. And we shall be chartering that club in the next couple of months. And he did say about what we were doing over this last year with these students, and it's been noticed. So our objectives, the 2, to keep it Toastmasters in the eye of the faculty and the dean. Our purpose was to do that, and we did it. And also helping the students. And we have helped a lot of students get over their stage fright on Zoom, unfortunately. We're hoping to go back to physical at the university, and we can actually start doing these workshops physically, as well as our Toastmasters there at the actual university. So what I say to Toastmasters is, I've learned a lot from Toastmasters, not just using it in Toastmasters, but using it outside Toastmasters. And I said, everybody to get out and use what you've learned outside of Toastmasters, because it can be very, very fruitful to you. I've learned a lot from these workshops that we put on. And I know in the future, I will be able to put on these workshops and even get people to pay for them in the future. So that's another objective. But get out there. There's always a way to charter a club. This has taken nearly 2 terms, 2 years to get this club up. And as I said, it's going to be chartered in the next couple of months. And you can do it, find somewhere and make it happen. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much because of this wonderful speech. We love the speech. Toastmasters, I would like to invite the general evaluator, sorry, the timer, to give us the timer's report. Rosiana.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Distinguished Toastmaster Arthur. At the time today, I have a pleasure to present Kaushal 706, and all of them are within the time. Fatima, time given 8 to 10, time taken 9 minutes 24, and John also 8 to 10 minutes, time taken 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, our timer, for the timer's report. At this juncture, I would like to invite the journey evaluator, Sabaria.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Arthur. So to start off our evaluation, it will be speech evaluation. Speech evaluator number 1 is Anvita, who will be evaluating my mentor, Fatima, who speaks on mentoring. Anvita, virtual stage is yours.
I'm evaluating DTM Kaushal Sabaria. Okay.
I must really am crazy about my mentor. Sorry, Kaushal. It is Kaushal with parenting. I love that speech. Okay, Anvita, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sabaria. Raising resilient children. What an out-of-the-box title and an out-of-the-box speech. Good day, Toastmasters, guests, and DTM Kaushal in particular. Listening to your speech was refreshing. It was the first time I heard about this topic. I was very much interested in your speech. Coming to the areas of excellence, I took up a course on parenthood, though I am not a parent. This opening statement of yours was hilarious, as well as it built curiosity around it. Why was the question which was ringing in my mind. But then you went on to answer it, and then you said that this is a relevant topic for everyone. By doing that, you ensured that everybody listened to your speech, whether they are a parent or not. The second aspect which I loved about your speech is your attention-grabbing visual aids. In your first slide, you had information about mindfulness. You spoke about it. One word grabbed my attention. That was the capitalized word "you," written in bold with an exclamatory mark next to it. Even if you didn't tell us to concentrate on ourselves, I got the point just because of this word and the font which you used for it. In your next slide, you had various points such as vulnerability, chunking, etc. You used a very innovative representation. You had a rainbow colored circle and then these points. If you would have used bullet points, probably I would have read 1 or 2 points and I would have left the rest. But because of that attractive rainbow, I read all your points. It was innovative and attractive. Thirdly, you showed audience awareness in your speech. You used an example of Michael Phelps. Now, there are people from across the globe in this meeting. If you would have used some lesser known personality as an example, probably they could have missed it. But you used a very relevant example of a famous person. I just have 2 suggestions for you. When you were showing your first slide, that is the one with the DNA and about mindfulness, you told about telling no to children, about different journaling techniques and about TikToks. I felt that you could have separated these points to another slide and write it as bullet points or some other representation, because these were also the important takeaway. If you could have written it in a slide, then I can recall that information much faster. Secondly, your speech was all about children. So I was expecting some pictures of children somewhere, probably of naughty children or funny children. Maybe you could have used it as the first slide with the title there, Raising Resilient Children. This would have added drama to your speech. Your conclusion was also great about being brave. You have composed your own quote. It was extremely poetic. To summarize, great use of visual aids. I felt you could have added 2 more slides, which I mentioned. This would have enhanced your speech. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you very much, speech evaluator Anvita. Yes, just like Anvita, I also enjoy that opening, like I'm not a parent, but I'm taking parenting lesson. And I am with you, Shaul. I'm not a parent, but I'm a grandparent. Ha ha, how's that? Never mind, that's another story. Shall we move on to our next evaluator, who is Somesh, and Somesh will now be evaluating the person that I've announced, which is my mentor Fatima, with a speech on mentoring. All yours, Somesh.
Thank you very much, Sabaria, our general evaluator for this meeting. And congratulations, Fatima, on completing the second speech of the Distinguished Toastmaster Project, and congratulations in advance for becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. And we all know that you have that pleasure, passion, and purpose in you that has created a great environment within the Toastmasters International in Malaysia. It's members like you who selflessly serve everyone else, that help a voluntary organization like Toastmasters International to grow. It is each and every one of us here who are giving our time, our energy, our enthusiasm, that is helping this voluntary organization to grow. And what a wonderful topic to do the Distinguished Toastmaster Project on, developing a mentor resource guide. Wonderful. And as you mentioned within your speech, it is the presence of mentors that creates an environment of learning within Toastmasters. So wonderful project. And the way you have shown your timeline from the beginning to now, that was very well done on that. And it shows how much effort you have put in since you joined Toastmasters in April 2019. So it's not even 3 years, and you probably would have done work that some member would probably do in 30 years. So it is really amazing. It again shows the purpose and the pleasure that you have while going for your passion, which is Toastmasters International. So congratulations on that. In terms of the flow of the speech, it's a great way to start the speech by asking questions. It grabs the attention of everyone. So that's that you do that very well in your speech. So very good, and you should keep that up. The flow was very good as well. One of the suggestions that I have is in terms of the document that you showed in the middle. It came as a little bit abrupt part of the speech. So probably you could have completed all your presentation and then you could have just shown the Word document. That's a small suggestion I have. Otherwise, the flow of the speech was perfect. And the way you ended the speech by bringing back to Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International, and his very, very famous quote, "We learn in the moments of enjoyment." Excellent way to end the speech. And you have personally showed that you are a mentor and we all can always grow. Whatever be our position, we can always grow. So congratulations on completing the Distinguished Toastmaster project. And we are really glad that we have another DTM member in this club. Thank you very much.
Samish, thank you very much because you didn't hand it over to me. It's okay. Right. Okay, that was evaluation for Fatima, who believes in mentoring all her life, empowering all the new Toastmasters. And Fatima is one person who always develop non-speakers to become excellent speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you, Samish. So we'll move on to the next one. To evaluate John, I would like to call Kathy and John on the, and also on DTM project of John, and I like, empowering and developing young ones to speak. Kathy, all yours.
Thank you so much, Sabria. John, it's a joy to be able to evaluate your second speech on the DTM path. I'm so excited for both you and Fatima. This project I really love because you guys are showing your passion for helping others. The joy you guys have to be able to help other people, not only you guys have improved your speaking so much, but to help that next generation. You gave us clear objectives. You showed us how you accomplished it. You took us on that journey, and I really enjoyed that. Your content was interesting, and I've seen bits of this before in the previous one, but I really like that you took us through the whole journey. You showed us how these students really flourished under this project that you two had taken at your university. There's a couple of little places for improvement here. They're just minor, but just something to be aware of. I'm not sure if you're in the swivel chair, but around the middle of the speech, you were doing a little wiggling. So swivel chairs have a tendency when we get comfortable, sometimes we move around when we're sitting, when we're speaking. So you might be aware of that and maybe even change your chair if you start being aware that that's something that you're doing on a regular basis. The other thing is, I've watched you with other speeches before. I noticed this particular time, your computer screen has a blue glare reflecting off of your glasses. I haven't noticed that in previous speeches, but I did notice it this time. I don't know if you guys are having a little bit different setup today, but that blue was reflecting off your light. It can be a little distracting for your audience. Also, when you had your presentation screens up, you were quite frequently, it's not as obvious when the slides were up, but you were like pointing down over to the side when you were doing that. That was a little distracting, but then when your slides were done, you were still looking down, you weren't really looking at the camera. It gives a little bit more audience engagement on Zoom. I know with virtual presentations that can be a little bit more challenging. These are just little minor things just to be aware of because I know what an excellent speaker that you are. I really enjoyed your speech. You made the objectives that you guys reached and the passion and purpose, the way you are helping others, I just greatly appreciate. I'm so excited for you guys to be completing your DTM projects and look forward to the next things that you guys will be doing and sharing with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. So it's presentation for John. Well, but John is a leader all along, as he is one person I look up to as my leader, and that I learned a lot from John because it's always giving me information, feedback on how to improve my public speaking. Right, John, but I love that passion about empowering future leaders. Wow, that's a good takeaway. Now let's move on to our timers report on the evaluators. Now I have Rosie, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sabaria, General Evaluator today. Again, it's my pleasure as an iWatch, Samsung Watch, Garmin Reveries, a new type of watch now, to present the timer report again of our passionate and purposeful evaluators. I'm Vita. You spoke for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Somesh, the TM Somesh, you were just on the nick of time. 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And Kathy, 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Timer. You took exactly that time to do your report. Good time management. Well, we all advanced leaders, so everybody knows how to keep time. So 3:30 is exactly on the dot. Very well. Shall I now give my reports on the general meeting today? We are off. First of all, we started like 3 minutes off because we were confirming, the president was confirming and reassigning role player because we had role play coming in later. So it was about 3 minutes off before we start. And then we were waiting or missing our first speaker, and Kashwal came and to apologize. And we started the meeting right on after that with Teresa taking on the grammarian. And we started with 10 people at the start of the meeting. And then when Kashwal came in on there, we had 11. Okay, and the meeting was started with Somesh with your welcome speech and also handing over to Arthur, our Toastmasters of the day, which is already 4 parts. And when you call for the first speaker, it was on the dot. Kashwal came on with the parenting speech, which was very good. And then we had 2 people coming in, and suddenly coming in at about 2:15. Okay, then we had 13 packs at the same time, and then we have a guest coming, Sunil, okay, from Vision Toastmasters Club from India. So, and we had 13 people at the time, okay, which is good. And there's not much because we're advanced club, so there's nothing much for improvement, but I know that we're all here for a purpose to improve and further our public speaking and our leadership skill. And it is my pleasure now to call upon the R counter. Do we have an R counter? Could I call Teresa? Did you pick up on any R, or do you just report on grammar?
I was just reporting on grammar.
Okay, Teresa, all yours.
Okay. I would like to just say it was my pleasure to be grammarian today because there were a lot of words that were used today that I found were different, and they really caught your attention and brought the listeners back to your speech. Words like flourish and, of course, flounder, stage fright, the word meshed, also sanitize. And that was to do with thoughts. I thought that was very well said. And pocket problem solver. What I found for grammar usage, I'm really a stickler on the word stuff, and I use that all the time. So instead of saying Toastmaster stuff, we could say something Toastmaster materials. Not sure if that's the same. The other thing, as a teacher, I always said, don't use the word a lot. I like it a lot. Make it, qualify it. It was such a wonderful thing. For the words of the day, I found that pleasure was used a bit. It could have been used more. I have the pleasure of listening to the next speaker, or it's been my pleasure to be listening to you. So that was, and some people did use that, so well done. Passion was also used, and also purpose. As a grammarian, picking 3 was quite difficult, and some people actually put them all together. And I think that was Somesh and also John. Maybe someone else did that as well. That is my report. Madam GE.
Thank you very much, grammarian, our language teacher, Teresa, all the way from Canada. Right, I wonder, Sagib, are you able to get our report or no? Sagib in the house? It's okay then. We'll do without a counter. Right. Now, I have finished my report for today. Can I hand over? It's my pleasure now to hand over the meeting to the president or Toastmasters of the day. Arthur, all yours.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, for such a well presented speech evaluations are really interesting, and as you know, everyone wants to live on top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing. So as we are moving from being good to being greater in our Toastmasters journey, we have to take pride in the evaluations that we receive, the feedback that we receive. That's where growth lies. In fact, that's where all the happiness lies. So thank you very much, Toastmaster, for the evaluation. At this juncture, I would like to invite our president, DTM Somesh, to close. DTM Somesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Arthur, for leading such a great session and moving everything very well. So, the meeting is ending now, just 1 minute past 3 o'clock here in Ireland. So congratulations to each and everyone here for doing that. Excellent job. And the theme of the meeting, happiness, is a wonderful topic. I would like to ask our guest, Sunil Govind, to please say a few words in terms of how you felt this meeting went and whether you'd like to come back and hopefully join us as well. Thank you very much, Sunil.
I think you're right on time, and I'm going to be doing the most, most unpardonable thing of pushing the time by speaking a few words, but I enjoyed it. I've heard a lot about your club. Toastmaster Anvita was a very valuable member of our club, and you have somewhat stolen her from us. And I have been pushing her to come back to the club, but she's been only coming for taking up roles and not being a member. So I have come here to actually take her back. That is one of my secret agenda, I would say. But it's been a pleasure. I have a lot of learnings, a lot of different perspectives from across the world. And it was indeed a pleasure being part of this. So much over to you. I don't want to push this time any further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunil. I think Toastmasters has this capability of people being members of multiple clubs. So I would say that Anvita can continue to be a great member of BT Club, and she can continue to be a member of this club as well. There are some members I see, they're members of many, many clubs, probably 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know how they manage it, but there are some members like that. It's amazing how they do it. Yeah, I think John and Fatima probably have lots, 3 now, but they had more, I think. So it is possible to do that. Of course, the time management becomes quite important then. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And thank you very much, Tinisa and Saiful, for coming back every time to these meetings. It's great to see you here. Hopefully you can join us as members whenever you can. And congratulations to Sanjeev. He's our member now. He's a formal member. So huge round of applause that he has taken that step towards joining Personal Growth Leaders. Thank you very much, Sanjeev.
Yeah, thanks, Ramesh. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, I'll just close this recording.